Ladies and gentlemen, we'll call this meeting to order. Ms. Delroy Broussard, would you lead us in the pledge, please? One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Broussard. Ms. Trosclair, do you have any opening comments?
Yes, thank you, President Latchley. Good evening, members of the board, staff, and everyone in the audience this evening. The new academic year date for students in grades 1 through 12 is Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. Pre-K and kindergarten students will begin reporting on Monday, September 14th. As we continue to finalize Lafayette Online Academy numbers, adjustments may be made to the reporting schedule. Details regarding the updated bell schedule, reporting dates, and the updated district calendar can be found on the website. District and school staff continue to prepare for a successful start to the school year. School leaders remain in contact with us and are updating us with additional needs that they may have so that we can address those needs prior to the start of school. We continue to order and stock supplies so that they will be available as needed. Additionally, all staff are being trained in new procedures and protocols for their campuses. I would also like to share with you that the Louisiana Department of Education released data regarding 2019 graduation rates. Of the 42,650 graduates in the state of Louisiana, 1,882 students graduated from the Lafayette Parish school system in 2019. I am proud to announce that this figure represents the highest graduation rate to date of 78.3%, surpassing the 2018 rate of 76.6%, an increase of 1.7 percentage points. My last update for you this evening is to announce that Broadmoor Elementary and Evangeline Elementary schools have moved into their new wings this past Saturday. Construction is almost 100% completed. Furniture has been delivered and new smart boards have been installed. Ridge, Woodvale, Catherine Drexel, and L.J. Alamo also have their wings completed and are ready to go. The wing addition at Middlebrook Elementary is near completion with occupancy expected in November. And finally, congratulations to Dr. Timmy Chasson and his family. Dr. Chasson's daughter, Autumn, is a recent walk-on the UConn basketball team. So congratulations to you all. And this concludes my comments, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Trosclair. Dr. Chasson, don't forget your friends. Like some UConn Lady Huskers basketball. We'll move on to the information items. 2.1, finance list of bids approved to be advertised by the superintendent. This is up for informational purposes only. 2.2, employee services. Mr. Mouton, are there any personnel changes?
Good evening to Mr. Latchley, the board, Superintendent Trosclair. I have the awesome responsibility and privilege of introducing 8 new school administrators this evening. The first administrator I will introduce is Miss Ronica Coleman, and Miss Coleman is the new principal of S.J. Montgomery. Ms. Coleman has 14 years of experience as an educator. She holds a bachelor's degree from Nicole State University, a Master of Education in Educational Leadership from Chaplin University, and is a current doctoral student at the University of Holy Cross, New Orleans, pursuing a doctorate of education in executive leadership. She recently served as a senior program specialist with the National Institute for Excellence for Teaching for the last 2 years. Prior to joining the NIET team, she served as a TAP principal of Village East Middle School in Terrebonne Parish for 4 years. This school was the first to implement the TAP model in the district. During her principalship, Ms. Coleman led the school to achieve an average of 5 growth points in the academic index each year of implementation. Ms. Coleman has also served as an English language arts teacher, a TAP master teacher, an assistant administrator in Iberia Parish. Ms. Coleman is honored to serve as the new principal of S.J. Montgomery and looks forward to the growth that is to come. Ms. Ronica Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mouton, for the introduction. Thank you to Superintendent Trosclair for entrusting me to be the new principal of S.J. Montgomery. Thank you to my supervisor, Ms. LaFleur, for all the support that has been provided. And my focus has always been teaching and learning, and that's what I'm committed to do at the school. And this role is just stepping back into something that I have a passion about. It's what I'm working on my doctorate with, and it's what I've done for the last 7 years as an administrator, and I'm glad to be here in Lafayette. Thank you.
Next up, Miss Ashley Brooks is the assistant principal of Evangeline Elementary. Ms. Brooks has 7 years experience as an educator. She holds a bachelor's degree from Southern University and A&M College, a master's of arts degree with an emphasis on teaching, and an educational specialist degree with an emphasis in educational leadership from McNeese State University. She has served as a teacher in Iberia Parish, Lafayette Charter Academy, and most recently at J.W. Falk Elementary School. Ms. Brooks has served on a leadership team and as a master teacher. Ms. Ashley Brooks, assistant principal of Evangeline Elementary.
Good evening. I am Ashley Brooks, the assistant principal at Evangeline Elementary. I just wanted to thank the board for this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to moving our students in the correct direction at Evangeline. Thank you.
Next up, Ms. Jade Colley, assistant principal of Broussard Middle School. Ms. Colley has 13 years of experience as an educator. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Nicholls State University, a Master's of Education in Curriculum and Instruction from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, and is a current doctoral student at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, pursuing a Doctorate of Education in Educational Leadership with Curriculum Leadership concentration. Ms. Colley has served as a teacher at Northside High School, a librarian at Acadiana High School, and Southside High School. And most recently, she has served as the instructional leader at Broussard Middle School. During her tenure, she has served as an SBLC chair, RTI facilitator, school technology coach, and the Louisiana Association of School Librarians president. She has presented various professional development topics on school-wide, parish-wide, regional, statewide, and national levels. Ms. Jade Colley, assistant principal at Broussard Middle.
Good evening. As a child, I've always been passionate about teaching and learning, and as an adult, that passion has been cemented inside of me. I believe that I have a God-given purpose, and that's to love others and to serve others on a daily basis. So with that said, board, Ms. Trosclair, Mr. Mouton, and Ms. Olson, I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to continue to grow and develop in my passion and in my purpose. And I thank you so much for just allowing me this opportunity to continue to love and serve my Broussard community in this new role as assistant principal. Thank you.
Miss Allison Manuel, assistant principal of Dusson Elementary. Ms. Manuel has 10 years of experience as an educator. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, a Master of Arts in teaching from Louisiana College, and a Master of Science in Educational Leadership from the American College of Education. She has served as a teacher of kindergarten, second grade, and third grade. She most recently has served as the social studies instructional coach for elementary grades in the Lafayette Parish school system, where she serviced 27 schools. She has also taken part in several leadership roles while employed with Lafayette Parish. She has served on the Louisiana Department of Education Advisory Council for Social Studies, facilitated the Lafayette Parish Social Studies Fair, facilitated the Martin Luther King Jr. Poster Contest, and was a participant in the Lafayette Parish Leadership Institute. Miss Allison Manuel, Assistant Principal of Dusong Elementary.
Good evening. I would like to express my gratitude to Superintendent Trosclair and to the board. After working among many wonderful leaders while in my social studies role, I'm excited for the opportunity to join the team at Dusong. I appreciate the support from Mrs. Connie Fontenot and from Ms. Janine LaFleur, and I look forward to the prospect of growth at an already exceptional school. Thank you.
Next up is Ms. Jean Mott. She is the new assistant principal at L.J. Allemont Fine Arts Academy. Ms. Mott has 18 years of experience in the field of education. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette and a Master's of Education in Educational Leadership from Louisiana College. Ms. Mott has been employed as a teacher at Sunset Middle for the last 18 years. During her time at Sunset Middle, she has served as the 504 chairperson, an SBLC team member, crisis management team member. She is currently the secondary math content leader. She was the teacher of the year in 2018 and served 6 years as the cheer coach. Most recently, she has served as the math team leader and an administrative assistant at Sunset Middle. Ms. Jean Mott, new assistant principal at L.J. Allemont.
Hi, good evening. First, I would like to say thank you to Superintendent Trosclair and the board, Mr. Don Mouton, Ms. Janine LaFleur, Ms. Kathy Aloisio, for trusting in my abilities and for the opportunities to represent Lafayette Parish School System. I am excited to be a part of the magic that happens every day at L.J. Allemont, especially in this unconventional time in our education world. Mr. Luquette and Ms. Champon and Ms. Dorman have laid out the welcome mat for me like family, and they have truly taken me under their wing. And our team works early mornings and late afternoons to ensure that there's nothing but the best for the students at L.J. Allemont and to keep them safe. I would like to thank my family, most importantly my son Parker, my coworkers, and my friends for the unwavering support. I am very excited, I am very thankful, and most importantly, I'm very ready. So thank you all so much.
Next up, Miss Nicole Moncrief, the new assistant principal at Marshall B.O. Elementary. Ms. Moncrief has 19 years of experience in the field of education. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in elementary education from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette and a Master's of Education degree in educational leadership from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. Ms. Moncrief has been employed at Ernest Gallette since 2001 as a second grade teacher and the instructional leader. During her time at Gallette, Ms. Moncrief has served in various leadership roles. She manages the RTI program, she manages the school tutors, leads PLCs, and guides the school improvement process as the school-wide improvement chair. She is a Lighthouse team member, the school test coordinator, and is a participant in the Lafayette Parish School System Leadership Institute. Ms. Nicole Moncrief, Assistant Principal of Marshall B.O. Elementary.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mouton. I gratefully and humbly accept Superintendent Trosclair and the board's approval of my appointment as Assistant Principal at Marshall B.O. Elementary. Thank you for this opportunity. I would also like to thank Mrs. LaFleur and all of my previous administrators for supporting me and helping me to grow as a leader. Thanks for seeing the leader in me. Thanks to Mrs. Hayes, who thought I would be a good fit as her assistant principal. Thanks to my husband Keith, who has been my biggest supporter and encourager. I appreciate the faculty and staff at Ernest Gallet Elementary for allowing me to grow and learn with them for the past 19 years. And I look forward to growing, learning, and leading at Marshall BO, where everyone has been so welcoming and inviting. It's often said that what is meant to be will be, and during this time of uncertainty, the one thing that I'm certain of is that I was meant to be a BO Bulldog. Someone asked if I'm excited about my new position. The excitement, pure joy, and anticipation of things to come feels like that of a kid at Christmas. I couldn't wait to go to bed the night before I was to report to my new job. Finally, I repeat my gratitude to everyone who made it possible for me to be standing in front of you all today, accepting this new opportunity to grow as a leader. Thank you.
Next up, Miss Emily Claire Richard, the new assistant principal of Scott Middle School. Ms. Richard has 17 years of experience in the field of education. She holds a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette and a Master's degree in Educational Leadership from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. She has been employed as a teacher, technology coordinator, and an assistant principal. While serving as an educator, Ms. Richard has been instrumental in the planning and daily operations of her schools. She has ensured that her schools have been in compliance with SBLC, IEPs, 504 regulations, and RTI procedures. She has coordinated course credit recovery programs, the summer school program, and after-school programs. She has been involved with parental involvement programs, and she has also been named the 2012 LEF Inspirational Teacher of the Year. Miss Emily Claire Richard, Assistant Principal of Scott Middle School.
Good evening, Superintendent Trosclair, Board President Lachele. I am truly honored and humbled to be back home in Lafayette Parish. Although we are facing some uncertain times, to the parents of Lafayette Parish school system children, and Scott Middle especially, please know that we've got this. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't see, but we are doing everything that we can at our schools to ensure that each and every student comes back to the safest possible environment possible. Thank you.
And the last new administrator tonight, but definitely not the least, Mr. Kyle Shirley, the new assistant principal at Lafayette High School. Mr. Shirley has 11 years of experience in the field of education. He holds a bachelor's degree from Northwestern State University and a master's degree in educational leadership from Northwestern State University. Mr. Shirley has taught at Bolton High School, Rapides High School, and Manny High School. He has also served as an assistant principal at Manny Junior High School. Mr. Shirley has experience with evaluating the effectiveness of instruction through the Compass Evaluation Rubric. He's developed the school safety plans and has led the school PBIS committees. He has been part of the Rapides Parish School Board Leadership Academy. He has additional experience as a news editor, writer, copy editor, and photographer. And he is a program consultant for the Rapides Parish Foundation's Youth Volunteer Corps. Mr. Kyle Shirley, Assistant Principal at Lafayette High School.
Thank you, Mr. Mouton. Superintendent Trosclair, members of the board, and especially my wonderful principal, who is standing out there somewhere, Dr. Brown, as well as the administrative team at Lafayette High School for making me feel so welcome. I would just like to say that although I'm brand new to the district, I am bringing a wealth of experience and passion for this field with me, and I could not be possibly any more enthusiastic about joining Lafayette and Lafayette High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mouton, and to all our new administrators, thank you and good luck.
And the last new administrator tonight, but definitely not the least, Mr. Kyle Shirley, the new assistant principal at Lafayette High School. Mr. Kyle Shirley has 11 years of experience in the field of education. He has been employed as a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette and a Master's degree in Educational Leadership from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. He has also served as an assistant principal at Manny Junior High School. He has also served as an assistant principal at Manny High School. While serving as an educator, Mr. Richard has been instrumental in the planning and daily operations of her schools. She has ensured that each and every student comes back to the safest possible environment possible. Thank you.
Now we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. If any board member would like any item pulled, please say so. 3.1, discussion or action concerning emergency declaration resolution 03-20-1977, COVID-19. 3.2, child nutrition services, discussion and or action concerning bid award 20-2029, paper and janitorial supplies. 3.3, child nutrition, discussion and or action concerning bid award 20-2030, small kitchen equipment and supplies. 3.4, employee services, discussion and or action concerning the nurse practitioner pay scale. 3.5 is facilities, discussion and or action concerning approval of quotes for Carencro Middle bus canopy. 3.6, facilities, discussion and or action concerning approval of utility servitude on LJ Alamo Middle School site. 3.7, discussion and or action concerning approval of utility servitude on Broadmoor Elementary School site. 3.8, facilities, discussion and or action concerning approval of quotes for Lafayette High Stadium lights repair. 3.9 is also facilities, discussion and or action concerning approval of bids for Edgar Martin Middle Classroom Wing Addition. 3.10 is finance, discussion and or action concerning the sales tax collection report for July 2020. 3.11, finance, discussion and or action concerning budget to actual reports for July 2020. 3.12 is finance, discussion and or action concerning the grant fund summary for June 2020 final. 3.13, finance, discussion and or action concerning bid award, bathroom tissue bid, number 22-21. 3.14 is also finance, discussion and or action concerning the approval of resolutions 08-20-1987 and adoption of millage rates for 2020. 3.15, risk management, discussion and or action concerning proposed new policy, EBBI, COVID-19 public health emergency.
Pull that, please.
3.16, superintendent, discussion and or action concerning the minutes of July 22nd and August 4th, 2020. And 3.17 is approval of all action consent items. Only item pulled was 3.15. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion for all items not pulled.
I have a motion by Ms. Morrison, seconded by Mr. Angel, that we approve all items not pulled. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your opportunity to speak on any item that was not pulled. We will limit you to 3 minutes, and please keep your comments directed at an agenda item. First speaker, go ahead.
Good evening. I have a comment about the grant fund summary. This is relevant to it in terms of the section highlighted expenses and supplies purchased. You guys purchased close to $89,000 worth of hand sanitizers that have no alcohol in them. I understand from some exchanges and some parents discussing this that Mr. Santani had said somewhere that you guys were repurchasing some. I know that that's hand sanitizer had a recall. So I was curious to know, rhetorically, if you would be getting a refund for that, if there is a process for that, because those came out of those ESSER funds and some of the other funds that you guys are working on. So what's going to happen with those hand sanitizers that, one, don't meet the minimum guidelines, but two, recalled and you spent almost $90,000 on them? Thank you.
Could you tell me which agenda item that is pertaining to? Okay. Any other public comment on any item not pulled? Not pulled. Not an item that was pulled. Yeah. Any other public comment? Hearing none, is there any board member comment on any items not pulled? Mr. Santani.
I have a question for Mr. Bordelon relating to item 3.9.
Thank you for coming up, Mr. Bordelon. Do we have any experience with Southern Constructors LLC for any of our past construction projects? If so, what was our experience with them? If not, did we check references for anything anyone that they submitted?
Mr. Centani, yes, we have had some experience with them. They were the general contractor on the West Side temporary campus project. That was a few years ago after the 2016 flood.
The one, was that when we set up the portable building campus at
Yes.
West, and that was at West Side, right?
That was at Scott Middle.
Oh, was that Scott Middle? That's right. Okay.
And they were also a major subcontractor on the Milton project. We have heard that they have built a couple of schools out in Iberia Parish. So we're pretty confident that they can handle this.
And I know the Milton wing, certainly it looks good. We're happy with the quality of their work on the Milton wing.
Yes, sir.
Well, thank you very much.
All right.
Any other board member comment? Madam Secretary, hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Nine for, none against.
Motion carries. We'll move to the only item that was pulled, 3.15, discussion and or action concerning the proposed new policy EBBI, COVID-19 public health emergency. Dr. Aguilar, do you pull that, sir?
Yes, I'd like to move that the board approve the proposed new policy EBBI, COVID-19 public health emergency as attached in the public content section.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Dr. Aguilar and a second by Ms. Morrison that the board approve the proposed new policy EBBI COVID-19 public health emergency. Any public comment? Remember, you'll be limited to 3 minutes. Please keep your comments germane to the agenda item. Go ahead.
Thank you. I recommend that the board adjust this and amend it to put it in posture. It is missing some of the minimum guidelines, and House Bill 59, which is now Act 9, which I'm sure many of you are aware of, specifically says a public school governing authority shall not adopt a policy, rule, or regulation that imposes a lesser standard than what is prescribed in a rule or regulation adopted by BSEE and the APA. In your board policy, it does not specify the 60% alcohol content that's required in hand sanitizers, for one. There are a number of other things, but I'm going to limit it. What I really recommend you guys do is, actually, it is in there? It was changed?
It's
okay.
in there.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that earlier, so it must have been swapped out. But I would look through that and make sure that if there's some other things in there that are not exactly the right. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, come on up, ma'am. There's some wipes and sanitizer if you want to do the microphone of your hands. There you go.
Okay, perfect. Hi. Okay, my name is Katie Slattery, and I'm reading this public comment on behalf of Shannon Crumlish, a member of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers, resident of District 5, and LPSS teacher who is unable to attend in person tonight because she receives immunosuppressive treatments. After 3 days of school, 158 Livingston Parish students, teachers, and staff members are quarantined due to COVID-19 concerns. After 7 school days, 900 students, teachers, and staff members in Cherokee County, Georgia are quarantined due to COVID-19 concerns. We teachers are instructed to make data-driven decisions. The data available about school reopening speaks for itself. The appropriate number of illnesses linked to the school reopening is 0. In our current situation with the current BSEE guidelines and the proposed risk management guidelines, we cannot guarantee the safety of students, staff, and the surrounding communities if we proceed with the current plan. It is also worth noting that Article 5 of the Louisiana Bill of Rights, Teachers' Bill of Rights, guarantees the right to teach in a safe, secure, and orderly environment that is conducive to learning and free from recognized dangers or hazards that are likely to cause or are causing serious injury. The data from the schools around our country that have already opened call the safety of the environment of in-person school into question at this time. I deeply empathize with those who wish to send children back to school. I miss my students terribly. Some of the most impassioned arguments for school reopening center around children getting their meals, structure, and stability back. How will children get their meals if they are sent back to quarantine within days of returning to school? What will happen to their sense of safety and stability? I urge you to take the initiative and seize the opportunity to avoid what has happened in Livingston Parish and Cherokee County, Georgia. Take additional precautions, including requiring face coverings for students in all grade levels, installing hand sanitizer pumps that contain 60% alcohol in our classrooms. The recently installed sanitizer pumps contain alcohol-free sanitizer, partnering with local hospitals and health units to provide rapid testing to all LPS students and staff as needed, and start our school year using the Phase 1 LPSS plan instead of the Phase 2 plan. The Phase 1 plan, where all students start virtually, is the only way to ensure the safety of our students, school staff, and the surrounding community. Again, the appropriate number of COVID-19 illnesses related to the reopening of our schools is 0. Thank you for your consideration and service to the community. That was again from Shannon Kremlish, who couldn't be here tonight because of immune stuff, and I'll get back in line and make my own comment.
Thank you. Next, come on up, ma'am.
I can do this at the microphone, right? It's okay to have the mask down to speak, or no? Okay.
Kind of like dealing with a trash bag in it. You know, you can't get a trash bag to come apart.
Right. Okay, my name is Lana Henry. I'm a parent and a former LPSS teacher married to a current LPSS teacher. After reading the reopening plan, I want to tell you how things will actually work on the ground, because I know, and our parents, board, and community deserve to know the truth. I'm taking this point by point directly from the plan. Number 1, quote, students will only be allowed to ride their assigned bus, close quote. When I taught at Lafayette High, there were multiple bus changes almost every day due to drivers being out, buses being down, unexpected delays, etc. On these days, many students were told to ride a bus other than their assigned bus. How much more often will this happen when drivers start getting sick? Yet neither the plan nor the budget includes hiring extra drivers. Number 2, quote, students and staff who exhibit symptoms of illnesses are to stay home, close quote. Throughout our 30 years of teaching, we have regularly seen sick students on anti-fever or cough suppressant meds sent to school by parents who felt they had no other choice. This will continue to happen even during COVID-19 because parents feel they have no choice or think that COVID-19 is not a big deal. Teachers who are ill regularly report to school for the same reason, and the symptoms of COVID-19 are so varied and common that it may not be apparent that is what they have. They can't quarantine for 2 weeks every time they feel fatigued or have a headache, upset stomach, or sore throat. Number 3, quote, staff temperature checks will be taken upon arrival to campus, close quote. And number 4, quote, student temperature checks will be taken during first hour class, close quote. Many people with COVID-19 do not have a fever, and most kids are asymptomatic. So this may give parents and staff false reassurance and is largely wasted money and time. Number 5, quote, students or staff exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19 or with a temperature of 100.4 or higher will be moved to a designated location and will promptly leave campus. Before a teacher can leave her class, another adult must take responsibility for the class. LPSS already has a chronic shortage of substitutes. How much truer will this be during COVID-19? How many people are going to risk their health and life and that of their family for $60 to $75 a day? On many days at Lafayette High, multiple teachers were out without subs, so their students were divided up among the other teachers in their department. So much for social distancing. A student cannot leave campus unless someone can pick him or her up in the middle of the day. This is not a given. Number 6, facial coverings. We have all seen adults in our community and across the country protest or ignore mask mandates. I also know how many students already buck dress code and other rules, often in very rude, disruptive ways. Numerous students will buck the facial covering rule because they see their parents and others do it. This will be a constant battle and will spread COVID-19. Number 7, quote, doorknobs, fixtures, and other high-touch surfaces in high-traffic areas such as restrooms will be cleaned multiple times per day, close quote. At Lafayette High, I was lucky if my floor got swept, and I regularly took out my own trash. Most of the school was disgustingly filthy. The custodial staff had been cut in half over the years and was constantly short-staffed. Imagine how short-staffed they are going to be when janitors start getting COVID, yet neither the plan nor the budget includes hiring more custodians. Minus additional custodians, teachers will have to clean their classroom in the 3 to 5 minutes between each class, and impossibly inadequate time to sanitize a classroom. Who then will be monitoring students as they move from class to class? Without monitoring, social distancing and proper masking will both go out the window. The plan also doesn't think outside the box. For example, why aren't we investing in large tents for outdoor instruction, which is the safest solution? Yes, it's hot and rainy in South Louisiana. I grew up in Houston before schools had AC, and we survived just fine.
3 minutes, ma'am.
Why isn't money being invested in air sanitizing machines? I am not exaggerating or being overly negative. I am stating the realities that we have experienced in our schools because this plan ignores those realities. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. There's some sanitizer up there if you need, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Jessica Thomas, and I'm a parent. I'm an LPSS teacher, and I'm also an LFT member. Very short, I'm wondering, are we going to be partnering with local hospitals to provide rapid testing? And like some parishes, I know some parishes have done that. I would like to recommend that as maybe a solution to some of these issues that are being brought up. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Reed?
Hello, Julia Reed, Lafayette Parish Association of Educators, President. I would like to once again start off by thanking the Central Office for all their hard work they put in on the safety plan and their willingness to work with us on several points of concern for educators. I would also like to give a shout out to the administrators and education support professionals who have been hard at work this summer getting our campuses clean. I know personally on my campus, my janitors are working short-handed and they are still plugging away getting things done. So I just want to start out by saying thank you to them for all their hard work. We do still have some concerns around the safety regulations as they are stated. First of all, starting with masks for K-2 students. In the current language in this policy, it only specifically mentions K-2 students being required to wear masks in transitions and drop-off. This is especially concerning to our younger teachers, our teachers who teach younger students. They feel that their students should also be required to wear masks, and they think that they can do it. There also is a special concern around temperature checks, that they are being asked to get down on the child's level, take the temperature within arm's length with the child with no mask on. And we know from some recent research that children have the virus present in their nose and throat at the same amount as adults. So we would like to see either some additional language around requiring the mask during the temperature check or at all times during class. Another concern that we have is around social distancing, in that the board's policy includes a lot of the same language that our mother organization LAE had problems with, is to the greatest extent possible. And I think that we have not been able to enforce that at every school with just the adults on campus. I've gotten reports from members that they were sitting in groups that were closer than 6 feet apart, groups of 10 to 15 adults in meetings, and they didn't feel comfortable. Presenters were not wearing their masks, all sorts of things. So we would like to see that language tightened up. Can it be 6 feet? Can we also get some language around gatherings of adults? At the media center right now, they are limited to 3 teachers in the media center at one time. But we have groups of teachers that are meeting in much larger groups in same size classrooms across the district. And that's, to me, is going to put us out of business a lot faster than the kids. Because if you have to quarantine an entire department at a middle or high school, I do not know how we are going to staff that. There are not going to be enough subs to put at every English or math classroom at a middle or high school. So we would also like to see some limits put on the amount of teachers in a group at a time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Craig Biddy, and I'm a teacher at Youngsville Middle School. And I also want to say thank you very much for all the work that you guys do, and thank you for allowing some of us to speak with you today. One of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is there's been a lot of research recently into what type of mask is the most efficient in stopping air particulates and things like that, which causes the virus to spread. And I was hoping that we might be able to investigate looking into some language that requires, instead of just a mask mandate, to mandate a specific type of mask, being that some masks are actually deemed almost completely inefficient. Neck gaiters, things of that variety. A single layer mask is not actually any good, and sometimes they're actually saying that it can be worse because it only allows the heavier particles to get through, which are the ones that we are more likely to pick up. And so I was hoping that we might be able to conduct some research into what type of masks are the best for us to be able to suggest or mandate to our students that they actually use, so that if we are attempting to go ahead with this phase 2 process, then that would, I think, make this a more successful attempt. I also want to just say that as we have watched all of these schools attempting to open up across the country and then having to, end up having to quarantine or close their doors, that if what we're trying to do is to provide to students the safety, security, the structure of education that we want so desperately for these kids to have, and we as teachers want so desperately for them to have and for us to have for our own lives, that if we are putting them in a process and in a structure that has been shown to fail and it does disrupt, that we may wish to consider creating a structure that we know, that we can define and we can say, look, let's start with phase 1, or let's go to all virtual, and let's make the hard choice now so that later we won't have to interrupt everybody's lives. Because we teachers, a lot of us have to change our entire curriculum if we end up going home for 2 weeks or more, and that interferes with everything that we've done before. That's going to interfere with the students' learning, and I just really want to urge you to consider creating a concrete, accomplishable plan that will not interfere with the eventual instruction that we're hoping and the safety that we are attempting to provide to these students' lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Come on up, young lady. I recognize you with the mask on.
Hi. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm hoping my students can too when we go back. My name is Michelle Broussard and I'm a teacher. I'm here on 2 levels. And excuse me if I'm emotional, but I just left my doctor's office because I had an allergic reaction to halt. My ankle is broken out of my whole leg because I had an allergic reaction to it. I'm also concerned because my grandchildren will be in a room, as I will, with the presence of halt being sprayed, because we don't have the necessary 10 minutes that it's going to take for it to dry between our classes being exchanged in a high school setting or a middle school setting. I'm also very concerned about the hand sanitizer that was put in my room. When it was installed the other day, I was in my room trying to, set up things so my kids could be socially distanced, because high school kids, not the little kind, they're kind of big. So I had to make sure I had the 6 feet apart. That's when I was exposed to the halt too. So I'm doing that, and I use the new hand sanitizer. It leaves a residue. Then I find out there's no alcohol in it. It's also been recalled as of July of this year. So my concern is this. Why can't I use Germ-X in my classroom? Why can't I use Clorox wipes? They're here. I am allergic to a product that I can show you. It's horrible looking, but I can show you. I don't want kids exposed to this, if at all possible. And I'm sorry if I'm emotional, but when I'm told I have to work in an environment with materials that are hazardous to my health, I get upset. I don't want my grandchildren around this because they have the potential to be allergic to it. And I hope you understand this. Why can't we use Clorox? My daughter works for a dermatologist, and you know what she told me? They use Clorox and Lysol. There are dermatologists that treat cancer patients daily. If it's good enough for the medical professionals, why can't it be good enough for us? Also, I personally now know of 41 people that have had COVID or have it currently. Not one had a temperature above 99.7. So us taking a temperature, while it may placate you and kind of help you feel better, it's not a given that it's going to be the proper thing to do, because 41, that's a lot. And no temperature. My temperature was higher than theirs the other day because I had a reaction to this halt. And I'm sorry if I'm stepping on toes. I know people have done a lot of research and are trying to do the best for our kids. But, like LPAE said, we should do better, and we can. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michelle. Ma'am, is there a reason you're coming up for a second time?
Yes, I'm actually reading for a teacher parent who couldn't be here.
Go ahead.
Her statement: my name is Katie Corville, and I'm a parent and teacher in Lafayette Parish. As educators, I think we've all experienced putting enormous effort into a plan only to have it not work when the time comes. No matter how hard we try to address all possible variables, and even though we have the best of intentions, some things just can't be foreseen. I believe that our district has put great effort into this safety plan. I know that my school administrators are also working tirelessly to ensure safety for all. Still, though, I worry that the risks are far greater than we are acknowledging. Karen Crow Middle has a positive case. Livingston Parish, whose student population is relatively close to ours, 26,000, has quarantined 150 students and employees after their first week of school. Across the country, we are seeing the same events unfold. I find it naive and dangerous to expect anything different to happen here. As I mentioned, even the best of plans can reveal gaps when implemented for the first time. According to the instructions for the HALT spray that each classroom has been provided, it should be kept out of reach of children, can be harmful if inhaled, causes skin and eye irritation, and treated surfaces must remain wet for 10 minutes. We will have 5 minutes between classes. Who will ensure my incoming students are remaining socially distant in the hall while I am hurriedly disinfecting tables? How will I ensure students don't suffer respiratory or skin irritation from this spray when they enter after a max of 5 minutes, when the directions clearly state to let it remain wet for 10? My students sit at 2-person tables. There will only be 1 student per table, but that means the table area and chair directly next to it and touching their workspace will still be wet. Why are we installing alcohol-free hand sanitizer in classrooms when the BESI guidelines require a 60% alcohol minimum? How are bus drivers without aid supposed to ensure students remain distant while they are driving? Since students' temperatures cannot be accurately taken immediately after being outside or leaving a hot school bus, how do we ensure safety when early arriving students may be on campus for up to 50 minutes before having their temperatures taken? Please consider a Phase 1 reopening. Under a fully virtual return, I would get to safely engage with my students every day instead of every other day. I can ensure they are receiving modifications and accommodations they are entitled to under their IEPs and IEPs. I can differentiate their assignments to meet their needs. I can do all the things I do for my students that Edgenuity cannot do for them. Also, contrary to popular belief, virtual learning will result in less screen time per day than hybrid learning. Due to inability to share and distribute supplies, teachers will be relying heavily on digital assignment formats. At least under Phase 1, students would not spend an entire school day in front of a screen, since virtual learning does not occupy 7 hours per day. Phase 2 opening is not the safest option, nor is it the best option for the education of our students. Please take this opportunity to ensure the safety of all students and employees of our district. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Come on up, young lady.
Hi, my name is Gemma Cedillo. I am the Vice President of Lafayette Parish Association of Educators. I'm also a teacher and a parent in the parish. I've worked really closely with our local and our state association on trying to come up with safety guidelines. This is like a no-win situation. Every time you turn a corner, it just seems like there's something else that pops up. So we had come up with some stuff that we really thought that should be included, and a lot of it has actually been included, and I really appreciate the hard work of our central office, our school board, and our administrators that have included that. One thing that I did see that we didn't have in there was that temperature checks be done at a second time during the day. I saw there was the initial, but we have a lot of kids that parents give them Tylenol and send them to school. And so if we don't do those second temperature checks, whether or not they are running a fever because it's COVID or not, it's important that we're checking just to make sure that we're taking care of that. Also, I teach pre-K, so and I teach SPED, so a lot of our kids are immune compromised. So face shields or something like that for our kids, if we could find some way to include that language, tighten that up a little bit, that would be awesome as well. And then, of course, just like everybody else said, I'm a little concerned about the halts, just because I teach pre-K, and we're just supposed to spray our stuff and let it air dry. And if any of my babies touch it or put it in their mouth, it's going to be scary. So, but thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate all the hard work everybody's put in. And I know this is a really difficult situation, and I'm glad that I can see we're all coming together and having these conversations and trying to come up with the best solution. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Come on up.
I was kind of hoping you would call me a young man, but I see that that's gone.
Go ahead, young man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My name is Nick Richard. I'm a physics and chemistry teacher of 17 years. First, I want to thank central office staff for the hundreds of hours and I'm sure countless cups of coffee that went into the various aspects of our plan to return to school. I'm here to speak with everyone else about the bullet that says if a room is used by more than one group in a single day, high-touch surfaces contained in that room must be cleaned before and after use by each group. So as a high school teacher, that means a minimum of 4 cleanings per day for me, which I'd be great with if it was a good product. So what will we be using to clean our classroom multiple times a day? A product that's called HALT. It's a disinfectant that leaves a clean, germ-free, and a safe, fantastic fresh scent. That's what I look for in a disinfectant. I want it to smell good, right? That's the most important thing. Not the fact that on the safety data sheet, it is a category 2 skin corrosive and irritant. Or it is a category 1 serious eye damage, eye irritation chemical. This is the highest severity of hazard certification by the GHS. If I continue on the statement, the SDS, it says it can cause serious eye damage and can cause skin irritation. Harmful if swallowed. Inhalation of vapors or mist can cause respiratory irritation. Continue down. The EPA labels it as a pesticide. Danger, corrosive, causes irreversible eye damage and skin burns. Irreversible. In addition, the NFPA says, warning, toxic corrosive. Wow, imagine that. HMIS, severe health hazard. This is a level 3 hazardous chemical. This level includes suspected and potential carcinogens. I think I'd be able to say that as a chemistry teacher. And they are severely irritating and are corrosive to the skin and corrosive to the eye or cause, again, irreversible eye damage. Given all these unnecessary health risks to our students and staff, this stuff must really work quickly, right? Wrong. Again, according to Spartan's product specification sheet, HALT works, and as many people have said, in 10 minutes. 5-minute class change. I've timed it. I'm a scientist. I run tests. It takes me 4 minutes to wipe down my tables and lab stations. I didn't even try the chairs. Who's watching my students? Am I in charge of sanitation, or am I in charge of watching my students in the hallway, as is stated in our teacher non-negotiables? Can't be in 2 places at once. I'm good, but I ain't that good. As a possible alternative, on July 8th of this year, the EPA said the laboratory tests found that both Lysol disinfecting spray and Lysol wipes destroy the coronavirus in 2 minutes after contact. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President, is there some clicking sound?
Clicking?
Y'all hear that? Okay. If somebody could stop doing that, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
We're good?
I don't hear what you're talking about.
Is it me? Okay. That's okay. Hi again. I'm Katie Slattery, and I am a member of the Lafayette Federation of Teachers, and I teach talented theater with the Gifted and Talented program. And thank you so much for letting us have this time to speak. It's really important, and I know everyone's coming together and doing the best they can. Okay, so I know there are so many opinions and concerns regarding the opening of schools, and everybody is confused about how it's going to work, what's going to happen. my program is basically we're bouncy balls bouncing all over the parish. How is that safe? Like bringing the virus from one school to another. It's like, what's even going to happen? And it's a lot of anxiety. So there's no one-size-fits-all approach to how this school year should be. But I think I have a really great idea that could appease everyone. Okay, for so long, teachers and parents have complained about the state of the school system, having to teach to the test, the school-to-prison pipeline, and the lack of creative freedom in our methods of teaching. I believe right now we are presented with the biggest gift our school system has ever seen. We are faced with a situation that forces us to rethink, redesign, and reimagine what education looks like. Let the teachers play. Let's take out of the equation a one-size-fits-all approach to learning and place the trust in the hands of the teachers themselves to do what they do best. I feel like there's a lack of trust that if teachers were to teach from home, virtually through Zoom, that they won't do it or this or that, and I'm willing to bet you money that, and you will be shocked and impressed at the creative solutions that we come up with if we really put the responsibility into the hands of the teachers. So, here's my proposal. I'm asking for 9 weeks, just 9 weeks, to let the teachers decide how they need and they want to teach. Each teacher will assess their students. I can't decide what's best for 1,000, but I could talk to my 30 families of my 30 students and find out what they need. Do they need virtual? Do they need this? Do they need that? And we'll collaborate with coworkers to place the students in groups that'll be best for everyone involved. It'll be very collaborative. Supervisors will allow support and monitor as needed the various methods of teacher-driven approaches, includes but not limited to teacher instruction from home, in-person instruction at school, hybrid teaching, rotating classes. Let us do it. And if we have to get shut down again or delayed again, what's the harm in just letting us go? I could teach tomorrow virtually. I'm ready to get started and we can do it. Lafayette Parish can be on the forefront of something amazing, and we can collect so much data on different methods of teaching, and even if it's a total failure, that's still data that can be used to advance education in the future. So there's a lot of options. We don't have to keep doing what we've been doing. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. May I ask, is there a reason you're coming up a second time?
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Catherine Cormier, who couldn't be here tonight. She's a parent.
Okay, what we're going to do starting next meeting, we're not going to continue to let people keep
I appreciate
coming up.
it. I wouldn't normally, but I saw you do it for somebody, so
No, we'll allow
found
it.
an opportunity.
We'll allow it tonight.
Thank you. This was something that she also sent to her state reps, so she wanted me to also address you guys with this. But I'm writing to express concerns about the mask mandate LPSS is trying to force on pre-K through second grade students. I believe in the mask ability to mitigate the virus. However, I have a problem with LPSS unilaterally undermining the law and policy set by the governor's order of BESI and LDE. I foresee a need to involve my state reps in case LPSS refuses to allow my child to or my children to attend public school. Oops, sorry. Whether we believe in the mask or not, how does a publicly funded school board have the authority to undermine and contradict the government's mandate, the governor's mandate? The governor specifically said his mandate only included children 8 years and older. I'm okay with both of my children socially distancing at school to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. I know different healthcare professionals have various opinions on the safety and efficacy of the mask. My pediatrician does not recommend a mask for anyone under 12. A decision made between myself and my pediatrician, and my children cannot wear a mask. Sorry, I don't know. I also have a problem with LPSS's only alternative to wearing a mask being the online academy. I firmly believe in the benefits John Bell Edwards mentioned in his most recent press conference of public school. I want my children to continue their public school education. I'm in the process of trying to understand the rules, and she also wanted me to mention, I don't know what page it is, under the new policy, the face coverings, it has pre-K through second grade requiring face coverings in any way, like on the buses and exiting, etc., but just the pre-K through second grade. And so that is her concern, and I'm here to share that with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas?
Mind if I disinfect right quick?
Take your time, sir.
How y'all doing? Marcus Thomas, Lafayette Parish Association of Educators and LAE. We've been having countless conversations with the board members. I know Ms. Trosclair is probably tired of seeing my number pop up on her phone. Ms. Gardner's probably tired of seeing my number pop up on her phone. We've had countless amount of meetings where we've social distanced, wore our masks, and LPA wants to first of all say thank y'all for backing up the start date of school. We had a lot of meaningful conversations. Our voices are being heard. We're having very respectable conversations. We just want to start off by saying thank y'all for, listening to the constituents and having conversation with the organization and backing up the start of school until after Labor Day. I was a successful athlete back in my day, and one thing that took me a long way that my daddy always told me was learn from your mistakes, but most importantly, learn from other people's mistakes. So this is a great opportunity for us to look at the school districts that have decided to start school early, see the things that went wrong in those school districts, see the mistakes that they made, and not repeat those mistakes and actually make adjustments. So LPAE, we look forward to having conversations, continue to have conversations with the board members, with Ms. Trosclair, members of the central office staff, so we can continue to have conversations to ensure the safety of our students and the educators in this parish. So we look forward to it, and like I say, thanks again for delaying the start of school until after Labor Day, and we'll continue to have conversations about what's going on as we make those adjustments and learn from other people's mistakes. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. We'll now go to board member comments, but Ms. Trosclair, would you like to address anything before? One thing, I guess, I wouldn't mind while you're addressing the young lady. I'm sorry for not remembering her name. She's standing by the door, the teacher that asked about the partnering for the test and so forth and so on.
Oh, and Ms. Gardner, with the nurses, I know they've had some discussion with the hospitals, Ms. Gardner?
Yes, we, Ms. Buller, who is our Director of Health Services, has been trying to find a local partner for testing for our employees. So, like, if we could have someone between 1:30 and 2:30 every day to where we could be in a partnership to have that testing. So we have been working in partnership because the testing is so high right now. We've had a hard time having someone commit to that, but we are actively seeking someone to have a partnership with.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, ma'am? Thank you. Would you like to comment before board member comment, or?
I would also like to say the K2 masks, although the policy says required during transitions on buses and as they exit vehicles in the morning, I want to let our pre-K2 teachers know that it's at their discretion as far as for in classrooms, and we have communicated that to all our elementary school administrators, that is at a teacher's discretion in that classroom. And the reason that we're leaving that to their discretion is because of the language component piece of instruction for the young students. Sometimes it's about the way that you form your mouth and the way that you place your tongue in particular sounds as you're teaching language development. But again, that piece is at the discretion of that classroom teacher, what makes them comfortable as far as for masks inside the classroom. And I want to assure all teachers in this district that every class prior to students being there will be equipped with 60% based alcohol hand sanitizer.
And Ms. Trosclair, I'd like to also add the concern of taking temperatures of the pre-K to second grade. The little pre-K teacher that came in, children are required to wear masks during temperature taking because of that. So that is another thing, and I know it's not in the policy we have, but it is twice a day. That's been released in our initial plan and in our next step. So it will be taken twice a day, and when the temperatures are taken with pre-K to 2, they'll have their mask on.
Thank you, Ms. Trosclair. Thank you, Ms. Gardner. I'll now open up the floor to any board member comment. Ms. Morrison.
Ms. Trosclair, the mask. If students show up without a mask or they lose their mask during the day, so we're supplying students with masks who don't have one?
All schools have been supplied boxes of disposable masks. Also on our buses, our bus drivers have disposable masks in the event that a student forgets a mask at home. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Morrison. Anyone else? Dr. Aguilar?
Yes, I'd like maybe Mr. Boardlawn to maybe comment on this product that teachers are receiving in their classroom called HALT. There's been a lot of conversation about the fact that it is potentially harmful. So I know that there's a letter that was circulated to board members today from the manufacturer discussing the appropriateness of HALT, and so I'd really like that to be included in the public record.
Good evening, members of the board. Kyle Bordelon, Director of Planning and Facilities. The HALT product, we did check, is on the EPA, I think they call it the N list for disinfectants. We do have the letter from the manufacturer stating its effectiveness and its the safety of the product for children and especially pregnant women. We are providing to the principals on Scoop Central that letter and the SDS sheet for the user prepared product. There are 2 SDS sheets floating around on the World Wide Web. One is for the concentrated product and one is for the user prepared. The user prepared product is the product that is going to be in the classroom. That's the product that is going to be run through a dispensing system from the concentrate mixed with water and becomes the final product that the teachers will be using. Someone addressed that it's a pesticide. What I have found out in the last couple of weeks is that any product that kills germs, bacteria, is considered a pesticide. So I would venture to say that any cleaning product that is going to kill or claim to kill bacteria is going to be considered a pesticide. Also, any of the products, any chemicals, cleaning chemicals, I'm sure are going to have warning labels that if you get the product in your eyes, it could cause irritation. If you inhale the vapors or if you inhale the mist or the product itself, it can cause some discomfort and irritation. That's going to be the same on any product. Any cleaning products are going to have lots of warning labels. Someone earlier addressed an allergic reaction. If that person would get with their principal and principal notify risk management, I'm sure we could work with that school to try to identify some kind of alternate product that maybe wouldn't cause an allergic reaction for this person. Did I address everything, Dr. Aguilar?
I think so. Just one final question. You guys probably researched multiple products for distribution to schools. It was mentioned Clorox wipes as being, something that people would be comfortable with, given we have it at the podium. But just your thoughts about, HALT just didn't come up without some analysis about appropriateness versus Clorox as an alternative. Just thoughts about that.
Yes, sir. We did look at some products. The HALT is readily available. It comes in a concentrated form. It runs through mixes with water through a dispensing system. It's very economical, and so we just felt that for the number of schools that we have to put this out at, we felt that this is the best product to use. Just for the record, I'd like to state that Clorox wipes can cause eye irritation also.
And can be in short supply. I have one more question, maybe for Ms. Gardner or Ms. Trosclair. This idea about 10 minutes wait time to kill the virus and only about 3 or 4 minutes between transitions. What is going to be expected of the classroom teacher as it relates to the transition time between classes and the use of this product to wipe down surfaces?
So the transition time currently right now between the classes are 5 minutes. For middle and high school, since we will be on A, B days, of using it every other desk. It might be where they line up. You got to imagine if we normally have 29 in a class, 13, then minus LOA, it might be 10 students. If there are 30 desks in a room, then it might be every third period that they are cleaning. So the principals are going to work with each teacher to see what they could do to make it happen, whereas this room might clean at this hour and that teacher in the hall might watch that class and their class, and then the next hour it might be the reverse, where this teacher is cleaning their room and the other is watching that class. It depends the setup of each campus too, but each principal is working with each staff to figure that out.
Anything else, Dr. Aguilar? Ms. LeBeau?
Have the teachers been using, obviously we have one teacher tonight that talked about the product, but have the teachers been using this product before today?
The custodians have been using it throughout the summer, including myself here at Central Office. So all your spaces, when we clean in the boardroom, we've been using it since actually last March throughout the school system, like all the schools. The custodians disinfected the entire school this summer, and that was the product that was used. It's the product we also use here at Central Office. It's the product that I use to clean the boardroom or our spaces during the day.
And then the machine that dilutes it, where is that located? That's not in each classroom, is it?
No, ma'am. They receive their bottles filled. So the custodians receive training on filling the bottles, and they distribute them to the teachers. And the buses pick up theirs at the school also. So they drop their bottle off, the custodian fills it, and then they get their fresh bottle. So that way they don't have to come all the way to Central Office either.
Okay, and so this is just a product that's new to the teachers, but not new to our custodial staff?
Correct, or Central Office staff.
And
because
have we had any issues with anybody else?
No, ma'am. And we've also provided gloves for each teacher's room. So when we're cleaning, so an example of cleaning would be to use if I'm right-handed, I'd put a glove on my right hand, and I would have the bottle of Halt in my left, and I'd spray, but when I'd go to dry it, I would use my gloved hand with the paper towels. So each teacher, as part of their PPE, would receive the gloves, they would receive the paper towels, and they would receive the Halt product prepared for them. A teacher will not have to prepare it from concentrate.
Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Latch, I have one more follow-up question. Just to be clear, we are expecting the 10-minute wait time for surfaces that are sprayed before students get into that classroom? Did I hear you? Did I understand that?
So I think Mr. Bordelon would have a clear definition if it has to sit for 10 minutes or can it be sprayed, sit a minute, and wipe. He's coming back up to do that. If it requires sitting for 2 minutes, then we will have to make that adjustment. But also, we're using alternating desks. So there will not be 10 minutes between each class that we will have to wait.
The Halt product has a kill claim of 10 minutes for disinfection. But I want you to also note that the Halt product is also a cleaner. I read very carefully the Bessie bulletin, which states that between classes, I'm kind of paraphrasing, that the student desk would be cleaned. It did not say sanitize. It did not say disinfect. It said cleaned. So the Halt product is a cleaner. It can be sprayed. It can be wiped immediately to clean the surface. A suggestion that we're going to have going out, and I think I have made this already in memos, is at the end of the day, the Halt product can be sprayed in a light mist over all of the hard surfaces, left to sit for 10 minutes or until it dries, and it will sanitize the surface at the end of the day. Excuse me, it'll disinfect at the end of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Bordelon. Mr. Broussard, and let me remind board members we're making one round.
Yes, I, like all of the board members, receive countless texts per day as to what we should be doing, how we should be doing it. Let me assure everyone that we all got the same thing in mind, the love and best welfare for our teachers, students, and everyone else. We're trying the very best that we can to make sure we put together a perfect situation. This is uncharted waters, and the only way we find out if we doing it right, if we put our plan into place. My question to Mr. Watson. In my district, we've got a lot of bus riders. The plan to have X amount of students per bus. What happens if we get to the bus stop and we've got 35 or 40 students and 10 more or 5 more than required? Is another bus following? Do we come back and make a second trip? Or what is the plan for that?
So what has happened, I've actually instructed drivers to call their parents. So what they're going to do, they're going to go down their route report and they're going to call, starting with stop 1. They're going to call those parents and count those students to see who will be bus riders. And at the point where you reach that 36 number, or whatever that number is required to be on that bus, then you start notifying those parents that they'll be on second load. So then they'll know what time they need to be at the stops. So like that, we don't have anyone just sitting there waiting.
And that includes the ones that are catching the bus at the satellite stop as well?
That is correct. That is correct. Yes, and that's the thing, we need to assure that we don't just have students there just waiting at those stops. So it's very important, especially this year, that we notify those parents and communicate with those parents that which load they would be on if there's actually a double load.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Any other board member comment? Ms. Mason.
This afternoon, Principal Luquette at LJ Alamont invited me to come see the new wing and to look at the desk setup with the alternating desks, and he walked me through what they're doing, so there will be plenty of time for the halt to dry in between cleanings. So he's dividing his groups, the student groups, into blue and black, because Alamont is blue and black colors, and the students on the black desks will sit in certain desks, and then the other group of students will be sitting in the blue desks. So those will be cleaned alternatingly, and I was very confident about the cleaning plan, seeing it with my own eyes in person today. So I really appreciate Mr. Luquette opening his time in school to, show up. My child also goes to Alamo, so I am very concerned with the cleaning plan, as is, as are everyone here. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. Appreciate it. There's no more board comment. I'll call for the vote, Madam Secretary. Oh.
One more, just for clarification, I did have somebody express to me concern about an HVAC filter that had not been changed. So just so that we can get it out in the public, if there is an HVAC filter that hasn't been changed or that they have a concern, who should they reach out to?
Mr. Bordelon, he'll get with our 2 HVAC companies.
Okay, so call Kyle Bordelon at the central office to report an issue with that.
The maintenance department.
Maintenance department.
So we did communicate today, again, with our schools, that all custodians are to check every air filter and the date that those filters were changed.
Okay.
That report's going to come to me Friday by noon, and both of our HVAC folks, our HVAC personnel, have guaranteed that they will change out all the filters that need to be changed since March.
So by September 8th, we will have clean air filters
Absolutely.
in every classroom.
Yes.
Thank you for that. I apologize for going twice.
Not a problem, Ms. LeBeau. Madam Secretary, I'll call for the vote. That is the final item on the agenda.
9 for, none against.
The motion carries. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our board meeting. Have a good evening.